landscape, and probably this could define the way we see 2024. And well, we are talking about a 38-party meet that is happening of the National Democratic Alliance. The meeting is going to be held at the national capital. Will see the alliance partners reaffirming their support to the BJP. BJP National President Nadda said that the country has decided that once again in 2024, under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, the NDA government will be formed. And ahead of the NDA meet, Prime Minister Narendra Modi attacked the opposition meeting and called the opposition parties an alliance of corruption and dynasty politics. Now, this is what the Prime Minister had to say when it came to the opposition meet in Bengaluru. Let's listen in.
आजादी के 75 वर्षों में हमारा भारत कहीं से कहीं पहुंच सकता था, और ये मैं बहुत जिम्मेवारी से कह रहा हूं, कहीं से कहीं पहुंच सकता था। हम भारतीयों के सामर्थ्य में कभी कोई कमी नहीं रही है, लेकिन सामान्य भारतीय के इस सामर्थ्य के साथ हमेशा भ्रष्टाचारी और परिवारवादी पार्टियों ने अन्याय किया। आज देश के लोग 2024 चुनाव में फिर एक बार हमारी सरकार वापस लाने का मन बना चुके हैं, निर्णय ले चुके हैं। ऐसे में भारत की बदहाली के जिम्मेदार कुछ लोग अपनी दुकान खोलकर बैठ गए हैं। इन्हें देखकर मुझे एक कविता की कुछ पंक्तियां याद आती हैं। एक कवि महाशय ने अवधी में लिखा था, ये अवधी भाषा में लिखी गई कविता है। गाइड कुछ है, हाल कुछ है, लेबिल कुछ है, माल कुछ है। 24 के लिए 26 होने वाले राजनीतिक दलों पर ये बड़ा फिट बैठता है। गाइड कुछ है, हाल कुछ है, लेबिल कुछ है और माल कुछ है। यानी गाना कोई और गाया जा रहा है, जबकि सच्चाई कुछ और है। लेबल किसी और का लगाया गया है, जबकि प्रोडक्ट कुछ और ही है। इनकी दुकान की यही सच्चाई है। इनकी दुकान पर दो चीजों की गारंटी मिलती है। एक तो ये अपनी दुकान पर जातिवाद का जहर बेचते हैं, और दूसरा ये लोग असीमित भ्रष्टाचार करते हैं। आजकल ये लोग बेंगलुरु में जुटे हैं। एक जमाने में एक गाना बहुत मशहूर था, मुझे तो पूरा याद नहीं है, लेकिन मुझे याद आ रहा है। एक चेहरे पर कई चेहरे लगा लेते हैं लोग, एक चेहरे पर कई चेहरे लगा लेते हैं लोग। आप देखिए ये लोग कितने चेहरे लगाकर बैठे हैं। जब ये लोग कैमरे के सामने एक फ्रेम में आ जाते हैं तो पहला विचार देश के सामने क्या आता है? पहला विचार देश के लोगों के मन में यही आता है, पूरा फ्रेम देख करके देशवासी यही बोल उठता है, लाखों करोड़ों रुपए का भ्रष्टाचार।
Well, that was in fact the Prime Minister who was speaking about the opposition meet in Bengaluru and says that corruption is one thing that has been guaranteed from their side. We are joined in by senior journalist Gautam Mukherjee. Gautam, how do you see this two different meets that is happening? One from the NDA side and one by the opposition in Bengaluru, one in the south and one in the north. But for me, the most interesting part I see from this is that it is a battle of perceptions and the battle has already started for 2024.
Well, the opposition definitely needs to come together. It's interesting that they don't want to use the same name that they have gone by in the past, because that time they were, of course, the ruling party. It was called the UPA. Now they're working on a new name. They're working on a common minimum program, which is the only way forward for them. And indeed, it is going to be very interesting what this common minimum program will contain. Of course, if they do come to power, it is often put to one side. But for the moment, it seems to be the right way to proceed. As far as the BJP is concerned, I think being inclusive and bringing in small parties that wish to join with them, in fact, even reaching out to several of them, assuring them that they will be considered in the decision making and in the way that the NDA operates when they expect to win in 2024. Now, this, I think, is a very good move on the part of the NDA, even though BJP may well be in a position to win by itself. It shows that they have the humility, or at least wish to project the humility to include as many of the other small parties that can live with their ideology. Now, in that, I think the future has a lot to say in terms of whether this will be more acceptable to the public. I assume it will be, because for all indications, we are told that the NDA is likely to be returned to power. But having said that, at least the opposition is making an effort to try and project unity and common minimum program.
When we look at both the kind of, the alliances that they meet, what we understand is there are powerful regional leaders in the opposition camp who have, what the Prime Minister points out is the factor of dynasty actually operating. When we're looking at other camps, especially when we talk about the DMK, it's a family-driven party. When we have the NCP, in fact, the Sharad Pawar and his daughter had also come for the meet. It's again, we are looking at a party that is driven by it's a family-run party. So there are several of these family-run. RJD is another example of a family-run party. So here the Prime Minister's entire jibe against them is that it is a group of families that are protecting their interests that is there. But when we look at the NDA's alliance, one very major player that we can see is the AIADMK. Then probably we can see who can actually deliver on the ground. But after that, the Telugu parties, especially when it comes to the BRS or the YSRCP or even the TDP, they have been completely silent about their support, whether it is for the opposition alliance or to the NDA, and they have kept quite a neutral stance right now. So what is in the NDA camp that we can talk of actually an ally who could be someone prominent enough? Other than the AIADMK, we don't see any other prominent alliance partner as such over here. We are seeing a series of small parties coming together and under the umbrella of the BJP.
Well, as I've said just now, BJP does not really need to rely on an alliance in order to win. That may not be necessary, but having more people on your side has its benefits. Some of these small parties will win one seat, but they will possibly also have a seat in the Rajya Sabha. And as a consequence, the numbers add up when you want to pass legislation. In all that kind of thing, also the small parties come together. AIADMK, which you mentioned, is a house largely in Tamil Nadu. But having said that, if the usual process of first the DMK, then the AIDMK, then back to the DMK applies, so of late it isn't so definite, because under Jayalalitha she had multiple terms, and who knows whether Stalin will be able to win a second term, and or the AIADMK minus Jayalalitha has the legs to do so. So that's one. And in the South, generally, BJP is not the only they ever had was Karnataka, which in alliance was, at least an NDA state. Now that too is gone. It's dependent almost entirely on some degree of alliance. Now JDS is wanting to come back and join hands. The good thing is they have managed to crack the Maharashtra situation in their favor, at least ostensibly, which does not give. I mean, if Maharashtra sends 48 MPs into Parliament, and so if the NCP is now largely, if not entirely, as the time goes on with them, it means that possibly they will win the maximum number of these 48 seats. Similar moves are afoot in Bihar, where Nitish Kumar is looking, for the moment he's with the opposition, but will he stay there? Will he break away? How many of his people in the JDU will break away with him? Paswan has already decided to come back, but Paswan never got along with Nitish. He also had problems with his own uncle. In UP, the one of the uncles of Akhilesh is wanting to come back to the BJP. So there are little breakaway factions, and these will serve to weaken the hold of the opposition in that given state. And that is the biggest suit of the opposition anyway, because as Mamata Banerjee pointed out, better to operate on their strength in the given state where they are electable, and then tally up afterwards, after the election, to see who does what, and whether they are in a position to form the government given the result. As far as BJP
Well, Mr. Mukherjee, since you mentioned, sorry to interrupt you, since you mentioned about Chirag Paswan, we had a reaction coming in on Chirag Paswan. Let's in fact listen into that.
ऑल इज वेल इन इंडिया। लंबे समय से बातचीत का दौर चल ही रहा था और ज़रूर हम लोग की कुछ कंसर्न्स थे जिन पर चर्चाओं का कुछ दौर चला और बहुत अहमी बहुत सकारात्मक तरीके से इन विषयों पर एक सहमति बन गई और लक्ष्य हम लोग का 2024 है, 2024 के लोकसभा और आने वाले समय में 2025 के विधानसभा, उस लक्ष्य की ओर एनडीए मजबूती से अब आगे बढ़ रही है।
देश की राजनीति में अब लड़ाई नाम की कोई चीज नहीं रह गई। अब यूपी में ही अगर देखिए 80 सीटें हैं, 80 सीटों की अगर हम बात करें तो विपक्ष कहां जीतेगा। 80 की 80 सीटें एनडीए के खाते में। अब एक तो हम तो समझते हैं कि चुनाव एक फॉर्मेलिटी रह गए हैं। चुनाव एक फॉर्मेलिटी है, विपक्ष चाहे जितना चिल्ला ले कुछ होने वाला नहीं है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी पूरे देश में उसका जनाधार है, जो गठबंधन है। अगर यूपी की बात हम करें तो यूपी में एक बड़ा जनाधार अपना दल, निषाद पार्टी, सुहेल देव भारतीय समाज पार्टी और भारतीय जनता पार्टी। अब एक बड़ा गठबंधन अब कहाँ बचता है यहाँ?
Well, let us in fact listen into what the Prime Minister had said earlier, taking a jibe at the opposition meet, saying that it is an alliance of corruption as well as Dynast coming together.
आजादी के 75 वर्षों में हमारा भारत कहीं से कहीं पहुंच सकता था, और ये मैं बहुत जिम्मेवारी से कह रहा हूं, कहीं से कहीं पहुंच सकता था। हम भारतीयों के सामर्थ्य में कभी कोई कमी नहीं रही है, लेकिन सामान्य भारतीय के इस सामर्थ्य के साथ हमेशा भ्रष्टाचारी और परिवारवादी पार्टियों ने अन्याय किया। आज देश के लोग 2024 चुनाव में फिर एक बार हमारी सरकार वापस लाने का मन बना चुके हैं, निर्णय ले चुके हैं। ऐसे में भारत की बदहाली के जिम्मेदार कुछ लोग अपनी दुकान खोलकर बैठ गए हैं। इन्हें देखकर मुझे एक कविता की कुछ पंक्तियां याद आती हैं। एक कवि महाशय ने अवधी में लिखा था, ये अवधी भाषा में लिखी गई कविता है। गाइड कुछ है, हाल कुछ है, लेबिल कुछ है, माल कुछ है। 24 के लिए 26 होने वाले राजनीतिक दलों पर ये बड़ा फिट बैठता है। गाइड कुछ है, हाल कुछ है, लेबिल कुछ है और माल कुछ है। यानी गाना कोई और गाया जा रहा है, जबकि सच्चाई कुछ और है। लेबल किसी और का लगाया गया है, जबकि प्रोडक्ट कुछ और ही है। इनकी दुकान की यही सच्चाई है। इनकी दुकान पर 2 चीजों की गारंटी मिलती है। एक तो ये अपनी दुकान पर जातिवाद का जहर बेचते हैं, और दूसरा ये लोग असीमित भ्रष्टाचार करते हैं। आजकल ये लोग बेंगलुरु में जुटे हैं। एक जमाने में एक गाना बहुत मशहूर था, मुझे तो पूरा याद नहीं है, लेकिन मुझे याद आ रहा है। एक चेहरे पर कई चेहरे लगा लेते हैं लोग। एक चेहरे पर कई चेहरे लगा लेते हैं लोग। आप देखिए ये लोग कितने चेहरे लगाकर बैठे हैं। जब ये लोग कैमरे के सामने एक फ्रेम में आ जाते हैं तो पहला विचार देश के सामने क्या आता है? पहला विचार देश के लोगों के मन में यही आता है, पूरा फ्रेम देख करके देशवासी यही बोल उठता है, लाखों करोड़ों रुपए का भ्रष्टाचार।
Well, when you listen to the Prime Minister, when he makes those statements saying that, how is it possible that they have only one agenda, that is to safeguard their corruption interests, and when it comes to the agenda of their dynastic politics. But Gautam Mukherjee, there is a pertinent factor to that question, what the Prime Minister is asking. We are looking at the opposition meet which is happening in Bengaluru, a myriad of, ideologies. For example, the TMC's though it's in opposition with the BJP in Bengal, in the last panchayat elections, it had a big scuffle off with the left party's cadres as well as the Congress workers as well. And then you have AAP, which has built its entire political narrative on the corruption of the Congress. That has been also taken into account. And you have all these kind of opposition within the opposition. So there seems to be that there is only one reason why the opposition meeting is happening in Bengaluru, and that is because the overarching fear that the BJP is going to dominate them and slowly even displace them from their regional areas where they have influence and dominance. So that seems to be the driving force behind it. And as we in fact speak, we have almost 2 ED raids on the DMK ministers as well. So these are the factors that are actually driving the opposition unity rather than any kind of politics.
Well, it's, just they have to make do with what they have. Now, in a situation where everything that you said is valid, perhaps even what the Prime Minister is saying is valid, what else can they do? Unless they come together, they might well, give a sort of a buy to the BJP, and they will be elected because there is no opposition, or they make a go of it for what it's worth and hope that if they fling a lot of mud on the basis of perceived failures of the BJP government, such as in price rise, in unemployment, in what they call cronyism, and so on, that part of this, and even communalism, and that part of this will stick with the voter, and they will win. And also the whole business of freebies, which is a potent instrument that has been used first by the AAP, now by the Congress very effectively, and whether this will be countered sufficiently by the BJP. What they are handing out already may be far, far greater and far, far more efficient. But the fact is, the appeal of handing out cash and the handing out of freebies to women, as in you can travel free on the buses, this kind of thing, and electricity free, water free, is very appealing to the poor of all types. They're not just Muslims or Christians or minorities, but they also appeal to the general masses that otherwise might like to vote for the BJP out of the Hindu masses.
But then, let us make a distinction on that. There is a question about how subsidies are given, and there is a question of freebies that has been. Freebies, of course, come during elections where, in Tamil Nadu especially, you have seen grinders, television, laptops, sometimes even, cycles. And this is the kind of freebies that we're talking about. But when it's a government-instituted kind of a policy that they are giving, it's, the opposition defers to saying that most of them, especially the Congress, says it's a subsidy. So there should be some kind of a difference between the subsidy that is being given and the distinction between a freebie that is given during elections. So that is something that they try to make a distinction about. But then when it comes to the BJP says that we have interventionist policies that help the particular society that we target, or the particular economic group that we target, to lift them out of poverty. So how does this complexity be communicated? Because of course the Prime Minister in many places have said that he's against the Revdi culture, but it seems that successful ploy of the subsidy politics has been used by the opposition to gain ground in the states that that have recently gone into polls. So nationally, how do you think this being a sort of an issue between both the alliances, talking about subsidies as well as when you talk about freebies?
Well, the point is subsidies are taken for granted.
Okay.
And the government perceived by the poor as rich, as well-to-do. And if it can build all the roads and bridges and tunnels and buy all this machinery and also all the defense equipment, surely it can give us something we are poor. So that being the the approach. In my opinion, you have to match the freebie culture of the opposition if you're going to blunt it. It's no use giving them explanations that these are part of our welfare policies and they're already in place and you have benefited from direct subsidies, you've benefited from easy loans, you've benefited from 100 other things like water and electricity and rural roads and maximum minimum pricing for your agricultural produce. This is something that the public, the poor public, which is the bulk of the voters, think is the job of the government to do, and they're doing it anyway. It is like many व्यापारीज say, but ऊपर से हमको क्या मिल रहा है? ये ऊपर से, what about that? And that is where the opposition is scoring, and the BJP will ignore it at its own peril. I think it has to be attended.
Okay. Now let us in fact listen to some of the reactions that are coming in from other alliance partners of the NDA. Let's listen into some reactions coming in from the RPI chief as well.
बस ये मीटिंग हो रही है, ये मीटिंग खाली नरेंद्र मोदी जी को हटाने के लिए हो रही है। उनकी मीटिंग जो है वो देश का विकास नहीं चाहते हैं और उनके मीटिंग में 26 पार्टीज के नेता लोग हैं। लेकिन आज जो माननीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी के उपस्थिति में जो इंडिया की मीटिंग हो रही है, इसमें 38 पार्टी के देश भर के नेता लोग आ रहे हैं और हमारा एजेंडा है कि 2024 में नरेंद्र मोदी जी को प्रधानमंत्री पद पर बिठाना और देश का विकास बहुत बड़ी गति से करना, यही हमारा एजेंडा है। विरोधी दल के बारे में हम कुछ नहीं बोलेंगे, उनको जो करना है करे, लेकिन हम 2024 का चुनाव जीतेंगे, 350 से ज्यादा सीटें हम जीतेंगे।
Meeting will be surely a crucial meeting because चुनाव नजदीक में है, तो आज लगता है सभी एनडीए का पार्टनर पार्टी यहाँ पे आएगा, पार्टिसिपेट करेगा, जो बोलना है तो बोलेगा, तो वही है।
पूरा देश और देश की करोड़ों जनता चाहती है कि मोदी जी फिर आओ और तगड़ी सरकार बनाकर तीसरी बार देश की सेवा करो, देश को आगे बढ़ाओ। और देश के अंदर देश की जनता ने तय किया है नरेंद्र मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में तगड़ी सरकार, डिसाइसिव सरकार, डायनेमिक सरकार, काम करने वाली सरकार, जिसकी दमक व चमक पूरे विश्व में आज फैली हुई है, जिसने भारत को आज विश्व की अग्रणी राष्ट्रों में खड़ा किया।
रस्साकसी की स्थिति में उनका बेंगलुरु का बैठक हो रही है और यहाँ रस्साकसी नहीं है, यहाँ सामंजस्य है और एक उद्देश्य है कि कैसे हम भारत को उन्नत राष्ट्र के रूप में निरूपित करें और संसार का अगुआ बनाने की दिशा में हम आगे बढ़ें।
देश के कोने कोने से, अलग अलग राज्यों से आज जो विभिन्न राजनीतिक दल एनडीए गठबंधन में सम्मिलित हैं, वो सभी एक साथ देश की राजधानी में इकट्ठा हो रहे हैं। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के विचारों को भी हम सुनेंगे और एनडीए की एकजुटता का संदेश भी देश में देंगे और 2024 का जो हमारा एक बड़ा लक्ष्य है, उसके लिए हम सब मिलकर प्रयास भी करेंगे। पूरा विश्वास है कि जनता का जो भरोसा है एक बार फिर कायम होगा और भी मजबूती से एनडीए गठबंधन की सरकार मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में बनेगी।
ऑलरेडी वी आर इन द एनडीए, सो தலைவர் G.K. Vasan is having a good rapport with Prime Minister and also BJP. Not only that, in Tamil Nadu, he is very much interested to strengthen this NDA, inviting new parties also in this NDA alliance. That's why always his relationship with, having relationship with ADMK and also with BJP and other parties like Patali Makkal Katchi, DMDK, he is very cordial with these all parties. Not only that, in our NDA alliance, we are ready to declare already Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister. Once again, third term, he is going to be the Prime Minister of India.
Well, let's now also listen into what the Prime Minister had said, and that jibe against dynasty as well as corruption against the opposition meet in Bengaluru. Let's listen into it once again.
आजादी के 75 वर्षों में हमारा भारत कहीं से कहीं पहुंच सकता था, और ये मैं बहुत जिम्मेवारी से कह रहा हूं, कहीं से कहीं पहुंच सकता था। हम भारतीयों के सामर्थ्य में कभी कोई कमी नहीं रही है, लेकिन सामान्य भारतीय के इस सामर्थ्य के साथ हमेशा भ्रष्टाचारी और परिवारवादी पार्टियों ने अन्याय किया। आज देश के लोग 2024 चुनाव में फिर एक बार हमारी सरकार वापस लाने का मन बना चुके हैं, निर्णय ले चुके हैं। ऐसे में भारत की बदहाली के जिम्मेदार कुछ लोग अपनी दुकान खोलकर बैठ गए हैं। इन्हें देखकर मुझे एक कविता की कुछ पंक्तियां याद आती हैं। एक कवि महाशय ने अवधी में लिखा था, ये अवधी भाषा में लिखी गई कविता है। गाइड कुछ है, हाल कुछ है, लेबिल कुछ है, माल कुछ है। 24 के लिए 26 होने वाले राजनीतिक दलों पर ये बड़ा फिट बैठता है। गाइड कुछ है, हाल कुछ है, लेबिल कुछ है और माल कुछ है। यानी गाना कोई और गाया जा रहा है, जबकि सच्चाई कुछ और है। लेबल किसी और का लगाया गया है, जबकि प्रोडक्ट कुछ और ही है। इनकी दुकान की यही सच्चाई है। इनकी दुकान पर दो चीजों की गारंटी मिलती है। एक तो ये अपनी दुकान पर जातिवाद का जहर बेचते हैं, और दूसरा ये लोग असीमित भ्रष्टाचार करते हैं। आजकल ये लोग बेंगलुरु में जुटे हैं। एक जमाने में एक गाना बहुत मशहूर था, मुझे तो पूरा याद नहीं है, लेकिन मुझे याद आ रहा है। एक चेहरे पर कई चेहरे लगा लेते हैं लोग, एक चेहरे पर कई चेहरे लगा लेते हैं लोग। आप देखिए ये लोग कितने चेहरे लगाकर बैठे हैं। जब ये लोग कैमरे के सामने एक फ्रेम में आ जाते हैं तो पहला विचार देश के सामने क्या आता है? पहला विचार देश के लोगों के मन में यही आता है, पूरा फ्रेम देख करके देशवासी यही बोल उठता है, लाखों करोड़ों रुपए का भ्रष्टाचार।
Well, my colleague Pankaj also joins in now. Pankaj, I mean, we have seen two different kind of meetings that have happened. One with the NDA in Delhi. Today, 4 p.m. they're having that meeting, and one is happening in Bengaluru already. Both of them are perceptional meetings, saying that probably who has got the larger call. The Congress, interestingly, is making a lot of conciliatory tones. It's saying that, we won't pursue for the Prime Minister's post. We are looking at the common minimum program. We are trying to get the votes together. That is what we are trying to do. We are trying to avoid the split of votes. We are trying to not become the competitor at the same place. That would be an advantage to the BJP. Meanwhile, the BJP is saying that we have 38 parties who are joining with us, and they are with us. They are reaffirming their support. The major allies like the LJP as well, the AIDMK is with them. But in the battle of perceptions, one jibe stands out, and what it is talking about is about how the Prime Minister was speaking about, the parties that are driven by family as well as what he calls as corruption as well. So, if you look at the opposition grouping, you have the Congress, of course, which is a family-driven party at the time. We have the NCP, the Sharad faction, which is also joining in. Then you have the DMK. Then you have, after the DMK, Samajwadi Party, Akhilesh Yadav. So you have all these parties, RJD. So all of them are actually technically dynasts who have inherited it, inherited the legacy, and that it has been in the family as such. So now with this jibe that is coming out, it just looks like perfectly he's been able to type the grouping as such into a family and dynast kind of a system. But then again, on the same day, both of them showing their strength. This is a game of perception of alliances, isn't it? Who has got the better alliance? Because when we look at the opposition, we are looking at strong regional leaders. But when we look over here, we don't have that kind of a strong regional presence. But they are all small parties that have come under the larger umbrella of the BJP. Because the BJP, of course, has been trying to, they have won elections on their own strength and merit. While the Congress has been quite weakened, so they require these regional partners to project a larger number. So this is the electoral math in it. But at the same time, how do you see this battle of perceptions happening in Delhi and in Bengaluru?
Well, Varghese, see, the bugle for 2024 has already been blown, and now on every other day, anything that we see coming through the camera lenses, this is a perception, about a method to show the people that yes, we have arrived, this is what we promised, this is what we are. So this is on both the sides. We can't deny that. Someone would say that, hey, is BJP or NDA on a slippery ground, or is it feeling the heat of this opposition unity, and that's why they have convened an NDA meeting? Well, BJP, as they would work, starting from the grassroots level, they have already started with their plans. There are 4 different meetings. 2 of them have already happened. Which focuses on 4 different parts of the country. Now the turn has come for the allies, and yes, NDA, National Democratic Alliance, as it stands, is a confluence of several like-minded political parties. That way, I wouldn't read too much into the coincidence that both the meetings are happening on the same day. But yes, what comes out of those meetings is pretty crucial. Congress, on one hand, the opposition unity would be choosing its name, first of all, around 4:30 in the evening. They would be doing the press conference. They have to put a lot of things on the back burner, decide on a new strategy, and then come to
a new name.
A new name.
You had the UPA, United Progressive Alliance. I mean, that doesn't exist anymore. They want to have a new name as well.
A new name. Plus this tag of dynastic politics. This is something that has been oft debated and has been in the currency for a longer period of time. Now, all these parties, BJP, DMK, Samajwadi Party, RJD, they by now know how to tackle this. So they would throw the ball in BJP's court, saying, naming different political leaders whose kin and relatives are in the BJP itself. So BJP, we have seen that also. One step ahead, BJP says that fine, we have political parties, political members who are there from a family, but they don't hold any top position. They are not the party chief, they are not the treasury, they are not plum ministers as well. So that way. Now, talking in terms of the heft and the perception, well, Prime Minister Modi did not mince his words, and he clearly said, referring to Congress's or Rahul Gandhi's Mohabbat ki Dukaan, he once again broke it down to a shop, once again, where he was saying कि वो दुकान में वो नफरत बेचते हैं, वो divide and rule, और जाति के आधार पर they divide them, and that's why the country hasn't progressed in the last 75 years. This is what the Prime Minister had to say. So sooner or later we would see that from both the sides they would start puncturing the claims that are being made. So it's better to put your best foot forward in the beginning, because if you maintain the tempo, if you get the eyeballs, if you are in a way able to mingle with the masses and strike the right chord, then only, I guess, by 2024, which is as of now at least 8 months by the time the elections would happen away.
But it looks like they've already, laid the groundwork for the big battle.
Yes, much before that. I mean, Gautam would agree that the BJP style of politics, I would rather say BJP, because for Congress, Bharat Jodo Yatra was something that had begun, last year. And that was also a precursor. But that time only Congress was there. Only a few regional parties joined them, few chose to stay away. But for the BJP, I would say, as far as I remember, from last December itself, by the time Rahul's Bharat Jodo Yatra was on, they had started reaching out to the electorate down south in Kerala and Tamil Nadu.
But when we look at the entire, meetings and politics of these meetings happening, I was actually asking Gautam also, this is a myriad group of people who have come together when it comes to the opposition. The AAP is an odd man out because it was in a major fight with the Congress. It built its entire political narrative based on the Congress corruption. TMC with the left. So this myriad grouping of people, the big question over here is, you're going for a common minimum program, but how long would you be able to hold it if you actually tend to make through? That is the biggest question that's also being asked.
Yeah. See, common minimum program is something that has worked in the past also. And I would rather put the point across here that India of late has had two coalition governments, first from 1999 to 2004, that of the BJP, which is the NDA, and then followed by 2004 till 2014 of the UPA. And both these governments showed one thing, that more often than not, the alliance partners were on the same page, barring the left pulling out of UPA 1 initially. So this time around, obviously, if you have, say, a partner like Aam Aadmi Party, which removed Delhi from power and then in Punjab, that way also you have Mamata Banerjee not siding with the Congress, NCP and other players. So I think for them, they know what the target is, and they will have to lose some to win some.
Well, let's see how this negotiation is going to be. I'll give the last word to Gautam. Gautam, one thing is that all of them have come together in Bengaluru, and of course over here, when it comes to the NDA meet, there is no questioning it. The BJP can dictate terms, but the Congress is not able to dictate terms when it comes to the opposition meet in Bengaluru. They are dependent on these strong regional satraps. So do you think the negotiation factor of how many seats is going to be quite crucial to crack in the opposition meet there?
Well, if you follow the Mamata formula, it is that please get out of my way. I'm strong in Bengal. Stalin is strong in Tamil Nadu. So neither of us should have any opposition from our own side in any of these places. In other words, all seats must work to my advantage. Now, I think they're going to try it in that manner. Eventually, after the election, if they're in a position at all to cobble together a government in terms of numbers, it would be dependent on who has how many Lok Sabha seats. Now, this is going to be fairly tilted in Congress's favor, no matter how softly they play it now, unless they lose some of these states that they currently control. Now, otherwise, Congress inevitably, arithmetic being what it is, will control the largest block of seats because they have about 4 states in their bag. Everybody else has one. Yes, Bengal has, I think, about 42 seats. But the trouble with that is, will they get every single one of them? BJP will rest a few of the seats. It got as many as 18 last time. Even if it gets 10, that's 32. And it's hard to push your way to the top with 32 seats. Similarly, Tamil Nadu doesn't have that many seats. Can Stalin, and is Stalin interested? Unlike Mamata Banerjee, Stalin is quite content being a regional leader. This is another problem. So they're going to have to find a compromise candidate without much by way of grassroots support. This is what happened in the case of Jibe, for example, and they might want to play it like that. So you find a dark horse, leading the whole thing
Right.
in the end.
Right. Well, thank you, Gautam, for in fact speaking to us, and thank you, Pankaj, for also giving us those insights. Well, it's going to be quite an interesting take that we are going to see. But I think we have to just wait and watch. 2024, we are discussing right now, but in 2024 and whenever the elections are going to happen, probably somewhere during the summer months, it's going to be, let's see whether all these strategies are going to work, and what we discuss, how much of it is going to actually come true. Well, with that, it's a wrap. Keep tuned for News 9, and we shall follow in later.
इंजीनियरिंग कर रहे हैं, जो कि सभी लोग कर रहे हैं।
Coaching is now starting from grade 3, 4, 5, 6.
होता जाने वाली बीच राह में आधे टेस्ट देके हैं सिलेक्शन की चाह में।
ऑल इंडिया का बच्चा